You might think the internet lives in the air on satellites or in digital clouds, but the truth is much deeper, literally. Right now, as you watch this video, your message, your streaming, and your international calls are traveling along the ocean floor, through cables so long they could circle the Earth several times. More than 95% of all intercontinental internet traffic passes through them, not through satellites, through cables. These cables cross entire oceans, descend to depths greater than Mount Everest, and remain there for decades in absolute silence, under extreme pressure, total darkness, and constant cold. They traverse underwater volcanic chains, active seismic areas, and zones where no human being has ever been. Yet they operate 24 hours a day, without breaks, without visible failures. But how is this possible? How does anyone decide where a cable will run on a planet where more than 70% of the surface is covered by water? Nothing is random. Before a single meter of cable is manufactured, an almost invisible process begins, carried out long before installation. Specialized ships map the seabed using high-precision sonar. Every feature, every unevenness, every potential hazard is analyzed. Submarine landslides, tectonic activity, fishing routes, areas of heavy ship traffic, and even geopolitical tensions are taken into account. A navigational error can cost billions. A poorly positioned cable can be ripped off by an anchor, crushed by an underwater landslide, or simply break over time. Therefore, shipping routes are designed like highly complex surgeries, seeking the safest, most stable and most durable path possible between continents. And don't think of these cables as simple wires. They are highly engineered structures, designed to survive where almost nothing else does. Pressures equivalent to hundreds of atmospheres. Salt water trying to corrode everything. Constant ocean currents. Curious marine life. Even so, the signal needs to travel thousands of kilometers at the speed of light, without interruption. What's most striking is that, despite supporting the modern world, almost no one has ever seen one of these cables. They don't appear on common maps. They aren't publicized in detail. And when something goes wrong, the whole world feels it even without knowing why. Because when a single cable breaks, entire countries can lose connection. Markets grind to a halt. Systems fail. And all because of something that's down there in the dark, silent, working without drawing attention. In the next part of this story, you'll understand how these cables are built to survive the ocean floor, layer by layer, protection by protection, and why they are one of the greatest engineering feats ever accomplished by humankind. For an internet cable to survive at the bottom of the ocean, it needs to be much more than a simple transmission medium. It needs to be resistant, flexible, waterproof, and reliable for decades. It all begins long before the sea, inside highly controlled factories, where every millimeter of the cable is designed to withstand the worst environment on the planet. At the heart of it all are the optical fibers. Thin as strands of hair made of ultra-pure glass, they are responsible for transporting data in the form of light. Videos, messages, banking transactions, and international calls travel through them, covering thousands of kilometers with almost no signal loss. But on their own, these fibers are extremely fragile. That's why they are never exposed. The fibers are grouped into small modules and encased in a special water-repellent gel. This gel doesn't dry out, freeze, or dissolve, even under the immense pressure of the ocean depths. If any outer layer is damaged, the gel prevents moisture from penetrating and destroying the core of the cable. It's an invisible but vital protection. Around these modules comes the first polymer layer. It creates a physical barrier against impacts, friction, and minor deformations. Then, depending on where the cable will be installed, comes the steel shielding. In regions close to the coast, where there are anchors, fishing nets, and intense human activity, this shielding is thick and heavy. In deep waters where the risk is lower, the cable can be lighter because each extra kilogram makes installation more difficult. After the shielding, an outer layer of polyethylene seals everything. It protects against corrosion, salinity, and wear over time. The result is a cable with multiple layers, each with a specific function, working together like a flexible armor. There's no exaggeration here. Each layer of protection exists because, at some point in history, something failed and needed to be fixed. Before leaving the factory, the cable undergoes rigorous testing. Light is emitted through the fibers to detect microflaws. Sensors check resistance, flexibility, and sealing. Any imperfection, however small, is grounds for discarding or repairing. Because at the bottom of the ocean, there is no such thing as simple maintenance. Once approved, the cable is wound onto enormous reels or directly into the circular compartments of the installation vessels. Kilometers and kilometers of cable are arranged with absolute precision. A tension error, a wrong bend can compromise everything. And then comes the most delicate part, getting this colossal structure to the bottom of the sea without breaking, twisting, or damaging anything. Because manufacturing the cable is difficult, but placing it in the right spot at the right depth is an even greater challenge. Installing an internet cable on the ocean floor isn't simply a matter of throwing it into the water. It's a slow, precise, and extremely expensive operation. Specialized ships, resembling floating platforms, are built exclusively for this mission. They don't follow conventional routes. They advance at a few kilometers per hour while the cable descends, meter by meter, until it touches the seabed. Sensors monitor the tension at all times. If the cable descends too quickly, it can break. If it descends too slowly, it can form dangerous bends. In deep water, it simply rests on the ocean floor. In coastal regions, however, the process changes completely. Submarine machines called underwater plows dig trenches in the seabed and bury the cable up to 2 meters deep. This protects it against anchors, fishing nets, and human interference. Everything is monitored in real time. Cameras, sonar, and positioning systems ensure that the cable stays exactly where it was planned years in advance. Even so, unforeseen events happen. Submarine landslides, earthquakes, volcanic activity, and even animal bites have caused real damage. But most of the time, the biggest enemy is not in nature, but on the surface. Ships. A single, poorly deployed anchor can sever a cable connecting entire continents. When this happens, the impact is immediate. Connections slow down, services go down, banks, airports, and communication systems go into emergency mode. The average user doesn't always notice the cause, but the world feels it. Repair is a race against time. The exact point of the fault is identified through optical testing. A maintenance vessel is dispatched, sometimes crossing oceans. On site, the cable is pulled from the seabed, cut, repaired, and returned to the ocean floor. At great depths, this process can take weeks and cost millions of dollars, and all this to fix something that no one can see. What's most striking is that despite being so critical, these cables remain virtually invisible to the public. They have no inauguration ceremony, they don't appear in advertisements, and they almost never make the news. But without them, the modern internet simply wouldn't exist. While you send a message or watch a video, hundreds of thousands of kilometers of cables work in absolute silence at the bottom of the ocean. They don't shine, they don't make noise, and they don't demand attention. But they are, without exaggeration, the backbone of the connected world. And now that you know this, the next time the internet works perfectly, remember, it crossed the planet, went to the bottom of the sea, and came back to you without anyone noticing.